It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. We take your emails as well at randykabc@gmail.com. That's randykabc@gmail.com. I follow a lot of local California reporters on social media. It's the quickest way for me to find out exactly what's going on for some of the best reporters in the state who discover things way before anybody else does. And I highly suggest, if you happen to be on Twitter, I don't call it X, nobody calls it X, Twitter, you got to follow Ashley Zavala, who works at KCRA3 in Sacramento. She is the best. She is breaking stories left and right. The entire legislature is afraid of her. You can follow her on Twitter at Zavala A, Zavala. Highly recommend it. And when we were doing the noon to 3 show today, in the middle of a break, I just happened to see on her Twitter something I found quite fascinating. Late last night, while most of the political world is paying attention to what's going on in Chicago, the California State Senate just passed through the strangest bill I've ever heard of. And there's been a lot of strange bills in Sacramento, but this is the most specific carve-out I have ever seen for somebody who's well-connected. So Inglewood has been blowing up lately. First, the Forum got saved thanks to Prince. Then the Forum got refurbished. Then SoFi Stadium comes in. The Rams, the Chargers. And then the Inglewood Dome, which just had their big opening with Bruno Mars, was that last weekend. The Clippers are going to start their season there. It is a very exciting time for Inglewood. And the Inglewood Dome in Inglewood was the topic of discussion last night at the California State Senate. A bill was brought forth by Assemblywoman Tina McKinnon, who is the representative for the Inglewood area. But because this was a state Senate meeting, Scott Wiener was the one championing her bill. Let's find out what this bill is that has to do with the Inglewood Dome in Inglewood.
Senator Wiener, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. And colleagues, I rise to present AB 32-6 on behalf of Assemblymember McKinnon. This bill allows for a specific entertainment venue in Inglewood to offer after-hours alcohol sales under limited circumstances.
Yes, this bill would allow the Inglewood Dome, the only venue in the state of California, to bypass the state's alcohol restrictions. It is state law that you cannot serve booze after 2 a.m. In fact, around 1:05, the lights start flashing on and off. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. However, while Scott Wiener himself has tried to pass a 4 a.m. drinking cutoff bill for major cities in California, it has died and died and died and died again. There's a lot of opposition to allowing even more sanctioned drinking that late into the night. I understand people that are for drinking till 4 a.m. I understand people that are against drinking till 4 a.m., considering how much of a car-centric city this is. I would say I'm okay with extending the drinking hours till 4 a.m., even 6 a.m. like they do in Chicago, as long as you make it a mandatory prison felony for your first DUI. Because in 2024, with Uber and Lyft and even Waymo entering the Los Angeles area, there is no excuse to be drinking and driving. None. That being said, it is really strange that the California State Legislature can put forth and vote on a bill that takes a specific state law that every restaurant, every single bar, every venue has to abide by, except for one, because they're getting a carve-out. And it's not for general concessions, because I don't see many Clipper games going until 3 a.m. It's for a private club inside the Inglewood Dome.
This bill allows for a specific entertainment venue in Inglewood to offer after-hours alcohol sales under limited circumstances, sunsetting in 2030. As California cities are seeking to navigate a growing demand for retail alcohol sales after 2 a.m., AB 3206 takes a new approach to balance public health and safety.
Yes, the new approach is carve-outs of the state law for very well-connected rich people. You know, Steve Ballmer has done incredible things for the Clippers organization, taking it out of Donald Sterling's hands, making it a competitive team for the first time. Sure, they're still cursed, and it happens every year, but it's exciting to see the Clippers getting their own arena, getting their own recognition. But Steve Ballmer is one of the richest people in the world. And Steve Ballmer has the political muscle and the might to get things moving. That Inglewood Dome, it feels like it just broke ground yesterday. It's already ready to be done. How many years does it take to approve regular housing, let alone affordable housing or homeless housing? But the Inglewood Dome got a fast track, got to bypass all the environmental reviews. And since that process went so smoothly, and since money is no problem for Ballmer, well, how about I get my local assemblywoman to write a bill specifically for my venue, specifically for the Inglewood Dome, to have drinking till 4 a.m. in a private club for 100 people. The well-to-do are going to be enjoying themselves at the Inglewood Dome. And you think about it. Maybe you're not going to the Inglewood Dome. Maybe you're going to SoFi. Maybe you're going to go see a show at the Forum, but you got to stop drinking at some point. So you walk over to the Dome, go to your private club, and you can keep going till 4 a.m. Oh, gosh. You know, in my 20s, the thought of drinking till 4 a.m. sounded super fun. In my 30s, my late 30s, oh, I would think about the massive headache that I would have. Usually, I stop drinking at 10, and that's if I'm really going for it. I might stop drinking at 9. Actually, the last couple of weeks I haven't been drinking at all. More on that later.
The bill includes a number of safeguards, including limiting the size of the venue, limiting the number.
It's okay to drink till 4 a.m., only for 100 rich people.
Limiting the number of customers allowed in the venue, limiting the days that the venue can offer after-hour alcohol sales, and requiring local approval to mitigate potential public health and safety concerns. This bill is...
Oh, I wouldn't worry about that. I'm sure if Tina McKinnon is bought and paid for, so is James Butts.
And requiring local approval to mitigate potential public health and safety concerns. This bill is a narrow bill that allows for a specific venue, not an entire city, to offer these sales. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Any discussion or debate on this item? Senator Sciarto.
Hi, members. I oppose this bill. This is actually a very exclusive club inside a venue that's being built right now that will only allow exclusive members to drink until 4 o'clock in the morning, and then we turn them loose on the streets of Inglewood.
Now, here's what I don't really understand. For the well-to-do, for the glitterati, for the people that are really going for it in life, I'm sure they already have plenty of connections and places off the books where you could be drinking all night. Or you go do bottle service in limo. Who knows? It's very interesting that this is happening. I would love to hear from you, especially if you happen to be near the Inglewood area. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. What do you think of Steve Ballmer getting a special cutout from the drinking laws specifically for his VIP club? 800-222-KABC. Do you think it should be more fair, more equitable? Should we have 4 a.m. drinking for everyone in California? Or do you think 4 a.m. drinking for anybody is a terrible idea? I'd love to hear from you at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Should we extend last call to 4 a.m. like Steve Ballmer just got approval for his VIP club at the Inglewood Dome? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. By the way, I have a standing desk now, so now when I give out the phone numbers, I kind of do a little dance. I burn some calories.
Which is a city that I used to serve. That is the last thing that city needs. If they think that opening venues and having drinking till 4 o'clock in the morning is good for just exclusive groups, then it should be for everyone. And
we talk so much about equity in this state and giving everyone a fair shot and everyone equal opportunity. This is as straight as it gets. We are doing a rule for thee. We're doing a rule for the very, very, very wealthy. Make sure that they can drink as much Grey Goose as they want, because they're not going any cheaper than Grey Goose. In fact, there might be a brand more fancy than Grey Goose. I'm just not a vodka guy. Maybe they like Skull. That's Dan Aykroyd's vodka.
Then it should be for everyone. And my contention is it's not good for anyone. So I would encourage a no vote.
That guy got the no vote. Let's see if anybody else is for the Steve Ballmer gets to have fancy people drink till 4 a.m. at the Inglewood Dome bill.
Any further discussion or debate on this item? Senator Ashby.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to rise in support of the bill and on behalf of colleagues in the room and say that it is a very narrowly tailored exception and urge an aye vote.
What's the point of having laws if we can have exceptions? You know, we don't want anybody drinking till 4 a.m., getting too drunk, drinking and driving when people are starting to get up and go to work. We don't want that. Except for 100 very wealthy people who are going to a Clipper game or a Bruno Mars concert. What is going on here? What do you think about extending last call to 4 a.m. in the state of California? Do you think it's okay to do it just for one venue for rich people? Do you think we should do it for everybody? Do you think it's a terrible idea even for the 100 rich people? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to Inglewood and go to Erica. Erica, hello.
Hi, thank you for having me on your show. I wanted to comment because I am a resident of Inglewood, and this bill that is being pushed past is just a reflection of how much the local legislator is not asking the people or the residents of that city what they think. We don't want drunk people being released at 4 a.m. From Inglewood Dome. There's already too much activity on the streets and less police coverage there. So why would we put ourselves at risk at that? We're trying to raise kids here.
I got to ask Erica, since you're in Inglewood, how loud was it a couple of weeks ago with that Hard Summer Music Festival?
Not only was it ridiculously loud, but as I was driving my 10-year-old to try to get school supplies, he was exposed to a whole bunch of people in thongs and fishnets and just lewd activity out on the streets. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, that's why we're supposed to have those raves and those big events out in the desert, not in the middle of neighborhoods. But hey, there was a lot of money in that one, although I think there was enough pushback from local residents in every neighborhood that heard it, including miles away, that I think they're not going to do any of those anymore. But yeah, I think this is kind of nonsense, especially because Tina McKinnon is not representing you. She's representing one constituent, Steve Ballmer.
Exactly. And that's not fair. The residents of Inglewood have often been overlooked. I mean, we're sitting up here with all of these exclusive venues that are popping up. But what happened to anybody talking about all of the elementary and high schools that they just shut down in our community? They're turning Inglewood into a capitalistic city, and they're not looking at the families that they have already there in residence. It's horrible.
I hear a lot of people getting worried about getting pushed out. I totally feel for you. Erica, thanks so much for the call. Love talking to you. Talk again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. The California legislature just pushed forward a bill that gives a small, tiny exception to the state's liquor laws. It's going to be last call at 2 a.m. for every establishment in the state except for Steve Ballmer's VIP club at the brand new Inglewood Dome. Are you down with that? Do you think we should be more fair and have 4 a.m. last call for everybody? Or do you think 4 a.m. last call for anybody is a terrible idea? And I love to talk to Inglewood residents about what exactly has been going on down there the last couple of years, because it seems like the local elected representatives are all about the rich and powerful and not about the local residents there. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Are you okay with Steve Ballmer getting a cutout for his fancy rich friends at the VIP club at the Inglewood Dome? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. We're taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. The California Legislature pushed forward a bill that offers a single exception to California's liquor laws. It is last call at 2 a.m. everywhere except for a VIP club at Steve Ballmer's brand new Inglewood Dome in Inglewood, if Gavin Newsom signs the bill. What do you think about that? Is that a little weird that we are legislating an exception to the law for one rich, well-connected constituent? And what do you think about extending last call to 4 a.m.? Are you okay with that for the fancy people? Do you think it should be last call at 4 a.m. for everybody? Or do you think last call at 4 a.m. is a terrible idea for the entire state of California, including the 100 rich people at the Inglewood Dome? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's hear a little more of the debate that's going on last night in the California State Senate.
Thank you, Senator Durazo.
Yes, I agree with many of the issues raised by this bill, and I'm going to try in the future to pay more attention that this doesn't become one example after another, but because it's extremely narrow, I will support today.
Yeah, I think this is only going to encourage more behavior. We are seeing straight up pay-to-play legislation. Steve Ballmer, ooh, you know what? Done a lot of good things for the Clippers. I started going to Clipper games when he took over. The Lob City era was pretty cool. I love the idea of the Inglewood Dome, and I love the idea of the Clippers not being the redheaded stepchild of Staples Center. Yeah, it's still called Staples Center. Nobody calls it the other name. But the fact that you are so well connected that you were able to push through the construction of this project, not having to go through environmental review while any other projects in this state get upheld. And then we have certain laws, and instead of those laws changing for everybody, they're just changing for you. What you are showing is that the legislature, if you are well connected enough and you are rich enough, you can get your own assembly person, your own state senator to pretty much write whatever bill you want. This is wild.
Yes, I agree with many of the issues raised by this bill. And I'm going to try in the future to pay more attention that this doesn't become one example after another, but because it's extremely narrow, I will support today.
Because it's so narrow, because it only affects 100 really wealthy people at the Inglewood Dome, I'm going to support it. That is a weird way to legislate. It's a little strange from Maria Elena Durazo.
Thank you. Any further discussion or debate on this item? Hearing seen none, Senator Wiener, would you like to close?
On behalf of Assemblymember McKinnon, I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Secretary, please call the roll on file item 2430.
And the vote went through, and it passed with just enough votes needed. So now that is going to Gavin Newsom's desk. Gavin Newsom is going to have to decide if he is okay with Steve Ballmer's VIP club at the Inglewood Dome getting an exception to 2 a.m. last call restrictions. Let's go to David in L.A. David, hello.
Hey, yeah, how you doing? I'm against for it. But unfortunately, we live in California where the voters are a vast majority of Democrats, so this is what we get for a politics in the bill that's mixed together in a cocktail for favoritism and discriminatory for all businesses out there. So, hey, California, guess what? Take it or leave it. So we voted for this.
We did vote for people like Tina McKinnon, who last week was hosting George Gascon on a forum of restorative justice, and this week is giving Steve Ballmer a first-class ticket to whatever legislation he wants passed.
But we asked for it, right? And they're in the ballot, they're in the ticket, we voted for it. So California, sleep with your enemy and sleep with your trash.
There you go, David. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. I wonder what other legislation we get Steve Ballmer to push through. Now, I got something special for you. We're going to do not one, but two giveaways on today's show. So how about this? 790 KABC welcomes Bonnie Raitt to the Pacific Amphitheater on September 14th. Tickets are on sale now, but right now, calling number 9 at 1-888-790-5222 gets a pair of tickets to the show. Tickets furnished by the Pacific Amphitheater. Good luck dialing. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC. 1-800-222-5222. You can email us as well at randykabc@gmail.com. That's randykabc@gmail.com. Well, I found it really interesting that on the same day that Steve Ballmer was asking for his cutout from the state legislature to extend the drinking hours till 4 a.m., drinking as a whole is starting to go on the downslope. And part of it is, I know this is going to be shocking, scientists have discovered it's not as healthy as they used to say it was. Are you kidding? You're telling me the same doctors that used to recommend smoking that told you that a glass of red wine a day turns out that that's crap? Look, I'm a red wine lover. Love it. I literally do this show a foot away from my 171 bottle wine fridge. But I was never under the impression that I was drinking for my health. Salud. For more on this and the trends to cut down on drinking, we go to KGO.
Two recent studies from the World Health Organization have shown the dangers of drinking alcohol. The first saying alcohol consumption contributes to the deaths of over 2.6 million people a year. And another.
I mean, people got to go sometime. But yes, there are a lot of complications from heavy drinking, daily drinking, binge drinking, apparently even a little drinking.
And another concluding that there is no safe level of drinking when it comes to your health. A departure from older, more traditional thought processes, some of which encourage things like a glass of red wine a day.
And the research is really evolving.
Boy, those antioxidants, they're really going to cover up the fact that who drinks one glass of red wine? That does not happen. It's like Gavin. Gavin likes to blab that he just drinks a glass of red wine here or there.
Clean and sober is one of the biggest damn mistakes this country's ever made. I know it's a hold-your-hand idealistic point of view that somehow magically, I mean, God bless some of you. If you're like me, I've been known to have a glass of wine at night watching some of the nightly news. We all need to self-medicate periodically.
Let me just tell you that nobody is drinking a glass of wine. If you happen to be in a happy married couple and you open a bottle of wine, that's 5 glasses. Now, you might do a situation where you get 3 and the other person gets 2. Maybe you do 2.5 each. But if you're only having 1 glass of wine, you're wasting the bottle because the wine's not good tomorrow. Some wines, you let it breathe for a little while, it'll be okay the next day. But for the most part, you're not keeping that the next day. So nobody's having just a glass of wine if they're having wine at all.
So we're starting to see new studies come out showing new associations with cardiovascular disease, cancer that we didn't see before.
The new data comes at a time when there's been a slow but steady shift in drinking patterns nationwide. That's especially true for younger people. The percentage...
Yeah, the youngins don't like the booze as much as us olds. No, I know. I'm 39. I'm not counted as an old, but the Gen Zers would say I'm old.
The percentage of whom...
Where do we go after Gen Z? We've ran out of numbers and letters.
The percentage of whom drink has fallen for the past 2 decades.
As the number of drinkers has dropped, the number of businesses catering to that crowd has grown.
Now, this is what I like. There is actually a big rise in the world of mocktails. And this isn't just great for people that, want to cut down on the drinking for health reasons, but for people who are in sobriety, I got to imagine one of the tough things is socializing and being out, and the only option you have for yourself is an O'Doul's. Well, so many restaurants and bars now are starting to put on their menu mocktails, crafted drinks that are just non-alcoholic, but definitely have the creativity and maybe some of the flavor that you're looking for. I love that aspect of it, and I love that it's a growing business, because if you happen to be on the wagon, you can still feel like you're socializing and nobody's going to look at you like, why aren't you having a drink?
They either de-alkalize the product or They just never let it ferment and become alcoholic. This is a ready-to-drink canned cocktail.
I will say, I understand the art of making cocktails. I think I love making drinks even more than I like drinking them. I love bartending. It's a lot of fun, especially when my only customer is my wife. But I got to say, like, you can be real creative and move things around. I don't know if you need the fake tequila. Maybe you do. Maybe you need that specific flavor. Although I would just do soda and lime juice. And I guess if you want that specific flavor profile, maybe you do. You know what? I'm not going to pass judgment on it.
Carly Hall is the store manager of the New Bar in San Francisco, a bottle shop that sells only non-alcoholic items. She says the company is growing rapidly, supported by loyal customers.
I feel like definitely during the week, a lot of people don't want to drink or just can't drink. So they're looking for options, and that is not just water.
It also helps that the mocktails are usually much cheaper than cocktails. Holy cow, is it getting expensive to drink out. Drinking at home, you could still do on a budget. But, my wife and I like to go out to the Villages in Woodland Hills, and probably the best margarita out there is at Joey. Joey has a spicy passion fruit margarita where they do this salt and pepper rim. It's real good. It's real good. And they do like an egg white foam. However, it's $20 a drink. So 2 rounds of those drinks plus tax and tip, that's $100. And you haven't even had dinner yet.
Water.
It's a similar story at local restaurants, many of whom have adopted non-alcoholic menus in addition to their traditional offerings. At Copra, Chief Operating Officer Dana Kitzakian says they're planning on doubling the number of non-alcoholic drinks they serve.
If we have a private party, we automatically will pass drinks that are both non-alcoholic and alcoholic. So no one has to feel like they have to make a declaration about what they're drinking and why.
You got to be even more careful than the person at the coffee shop who accidentally gives the calf to the decaf.
Despite the new scientific research, though, experts say the risk for individual people remains a case-by-case basis.
For those who are drinking casually and are healthy and have low risk to begin with, I think those factors need to be taken into account.
But whether you drink or not, it looks like the non-alcoholic options are here to stay. In San Francisco, Tim Johns, ABC 7 News.
I really like that. I like the trend that it is. And I like that it's becoming more socially acceptable to cut down on the drinking or cut out the drinking altogether. I like my drinks. I like my wine. I like my cocktails. But, I have definitely curbed that behavior from my late 20s and early 30s. Again, talk about last call at 4 a.m. I can't imagine drinking past 9. But I'm a boring married person. Hey, let's go to Joe and Hemet. Joe, hello.
Hey, Randy. Hi. I just want to say, I was raised by a great mom and dad. I'm in my 70s. We were exposed to booze and alcohol and stuff. Young age, my dad said, hey, here, you want to get drunk in the basement with your friends playing music. Grandpa made wine. We got to taste it. The problem that's no one mentioned, and thanks, Randy, you guys are great with some of these topics. These people that kill innocent people behind the wheel. We keep promoting pot and booze, and it's okay. And it's great if you want to drink, but drink at home. But no one pays a penalty for killing the innocent people. And it's really disheartening. I go, how stupid are these politicians? Are they even stupider than we possibly could imagine they are?
It's weird how soft we are on DUIs. Maybe it's because it happens to a lot of prominent people, including a lot of politicians. But yeah, it's unacceptable at this day and age, especially for people that can afford a driver or a Lyft or an Uber. Drinking and driving is unacceptable.
Right. But Randy, what I don't understand is I think I'm from the old school. If you kill somebody behind the wheel, drunk or impaired on drugs, I think you should be found guilty, immediate death penalty. If you're that stupid to do that and not consider anybody else on the planet, what kind of garbage are you?
Well, and instead of going down that direction, what they're actually talking about doing is standard in all vehicles in a couple of years. We might have breathalyzers in every car.
Well, again, but you know what? We're supposed to be halfway smart human beings. We can't think on our own. Don't light the dynamite and hold it. Don't get behind the wheel and drunk drive. Don't put a gun to head and pull your trigger. This is how stupid we got to be told everything. Unfortunately, we do, don't we?
We do. Joe, thanks so much for the call. As always, appreciate it. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. We're taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC. Let's go to Bill in La Cañada. Bill, hello.
Oh, hi, Randy. Hey, full disclosure, I've been happily addicted to Old Milwaukee non-alcoholic for 30 years.
That's great.
Because I just as you mentioned with wine, with so-called moderate consumption, I could never drink just one beer. I had to drink 3 or 4, and that started to concern me. And I got to agree with one of the callers that I think drunk drivers are the most disgusting creatures almost in the world. My sister's an attorney. She told me a long time ago, I will not represent them. If there's clear evidence that they were drinking, I won't represent them. So, on the related issue, just as a humble social studies teacher and former journalist, I'm not a lawyer, and I'd like you to run this by my old former buddy, Royal Oakes. I think the 14th Amendment of the federal Constitution is pretty clear that everyone is supposed to have equal standing before the law. And these same Democrat knuckleheads who find all sorts of nonsense in the 14th Amendment, like to knock unsuccessfully knock Donald Trump off the ballot last year, to find abortion rights that the court overturned in Roe versus Wade. Why don't they just read what it says? We're all equal before the law, and you can't please your buddies who are paying you basically bribes as lobbyists.
Well, unfortunately, no one seems to care up in Sacramento as long as the check's clear. Bill, thank you so much as always for the call. Appreciate it. I told you we were going to do 2 giveaways. Here we go. 790 KABC once again welcomes Bonnie Raitt to the Pacific Amphitheater on September 14th. Tickets are on sale now, but right now, caller number 9 at 1-888-790-5222 gets a pair of tickets to the show. Tickets furnished by the Pacific Amphitheater. Good luck dialing. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. You know, there's actually a new term for people that are thinking about cutting down or cutting out their drinking. It's called sober curious. For more, here's Good Morning America.
And now to the growing movement of sober curious living. It's a trend rising in popularity among younger generations who are choosing to reduce their alcohol consumption or just not drink at all. Rena Roy is here with this. We're really interested in this.
Boy, morning shows just have all the upbeat music.
We're really interested in this. Good morning to you, Rena.
Hey, good morning to you, Robin. Yeah, super interesting. This sober curious movement has really been gaining traction as more and more young people focus on their health, wellness, and even saving a few bucks here and there.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I've actually haven't had a sip of booze in about, when did I get back from Santa Fe? Almost 3 weeks ago. About 3 weeks ago. We're just in between a lot of indulgent vacations and we're going out of town for Labor Day. We're like, you know what? Let's try to eat healthy, cut out the grains, cut out, any sugar, and we're cutting out the booze. And you know what? It's actually been kind of nice. I mean, at some point we'll get back to it because I got 170 bottles of red wine in this fridge, but I have kind of been enjoying being just completely not drinking anything. At some point we'll get back to it. We love it. I will say, it's hard thinking about socializing. Like, we want to go out to dinner with our friends, but what do we do? Do we not drink? Do we only eat healthy food? I don't know what to do. So we're eating at home and we're not drinking and we're saving a ton of money. Alcohol is fun, but alcohol is expensive.
Studies show the number of college-age drinkers has gone down quite a bit in recent years.
More and more young adults are rethinking their relationship with alcohol. It's all part of a movement best summarized in the latest season of Netflix's hit show, Emily in Paris.
Oh, what if we didn't?
Oh, great. Sober Curious is a term from Emily in Paris, a Darren Star vehicle. Oh, no knock against Darren Star, believe you me. I grew up loving Melrose Place.
Oh, what if we did a non-alcoholic version? There's been a lot of growth in that sector thanks to the Sober Curious movement. The sober what? The sober curious movement. It's mostly Gen Z and millennials who are adopting a wellness approach to alcohol. They're not sober, they're just exploring not drinking.
A 2020 study finding that
that's a silly thing from that show, but it kind of makes sense. You you've had one too many bad hangovers. And you're like, okay, maybe we don't need to drink every night. Maybe it's just when we have friends over or when we're trying to do something really fancy like steak or, it's tough because usually Wednesdays when we do our salmon night and we do trivia and we do Fiddlehead Pinot, but going to try to keep it another week and a half without the wine. And then when we go to Carmel, we'll enjoy ourselves. But there you go. On one hand, you have lawmakers making a tiny exception for the rich and famous to drink till 4 a.m. And on the other hand, young people are cutting out the booze because it's unhealthy and expensive. What a time to be alive. Thank you all so much for being a part of this show. Whether you call in, you tell your friends about it, you subscribe to the podcast, that makes a big difference. I'd love to get more people to follow us. Go to kabc.com/newsblitz. Send that link to your friends. Get them to give us a listen. We're here every single day from 5 to 6. On Apple Podcasts, you can search for us, KABC News Blitz, and let people know. Write us a little review. Give it a follow. Give it a share. Love talking to you Monday through Thursday, talking news of the day. Friday, the big happy hour shows. Those are fun too. See you tomorrow for another News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. Cheers!